So, Dad.
Hi, daughter.
Hi. So I hear you just killed a real cow in the last movie you made. How was that?
I don't know that we should be talking about that.
Why?
I think that's a little contentious.
I know, but it did happen. It was pretty cool.
Well, the cow was sentenced to death anyway, and it was killed actually by the guy from the abattoir with a rifle. But then I was replaced as the rifleman. I did cut the cow up.
How was that? Just to explain, the cow was on its back with its legs in the air, and Dad cut into it and ripped it open, didn't you?
Yeah, and skinned it, and so I could get the meat out for
Eating
for eating.
in the movie.
Mm.
Did you eat the real meat in real life?
No, I think this cow was really beyond eating.
It was dying.
It was, yeah, it was
It's very thin and
not well,
it's not well.
which is why it got sentenced.
So that was for a film that your
My
son
son,
directed.
Jack, wrote.
My brother.
Your brother. Well, you know him quite well.
I know.
It's so weird, though. But yeah, he
I know,
wrote
it's
he
really
wrote
weird.
it and directed it.
Called The
and
Farmer.
Called The Farmer. About a man in the last 3 days of his life.
Oh, that brings me nicely to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wish you had done something else with your life?
Yeah, sure. No question. Through my 30s and 40s and everything, I thought that acting was great. Bee's knees, and majorly contributed to the world.
And
As you get older, I feel less that way.
what do you think it is?
I think it's a lot of fun. Would I like to have done something else? Yeah, quite possibly. What? You're going to ask me? I can see your lips going...
Like a doctor, you're going to say, aren't you?
Well, I'm pretty good with cutting up cows, and
I've
just felt that I missed some kind of vocation as a surgeon.
See, I wanted to be a vet.
You did, and you, when you were 10, worked in a vet for a holiday job, and you attended an operation of a cancer, removal of a tumour on a dog, and they apparently gave it to you, and you walked across the vet's surgery and put it in the bin.
Yeah, you put it in the bin. They put the tumour in the bin.
Which I thought was a pretty heavy thing to do to a 10-year-old.
It was pretty heavy. They must have really believed I wanted to be a vet.
If you could choose what you did as an actor all the time, you'd say, yeah, I'd like to work with Jim Carrey now, and it happened, and now I'd like to go and,
feel like doing.
Then it would be great, wouldn't it? But the thing about being an actor that is just so infuriating is that you are a person that is pushed and pulled around by everybody else. You're not in control of what you do. When you see musicians, painters, writers, although most writers I know hate writing, but the idea that they can do it on their own.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Well, you can't go into your bedroom and act. You can.
You do, though, don't you?
You do.
I mean, I do.
Do we?
I mean, you do. You said sometimes you'll do a little speech to yourself, won't you, in the bedroom?
Maybe we test it when we go out and go into a shop.
Yeah, well, that's what's interesting, isn't it?
Maybe we do that sort of almost subconsciously.
Yeah, when you think, well, this person would walk to the shop like this, and they do that, and nobody can see.
Could I have a look at that pair of gloves, please? do you mind? Thank you. And they're thinking, oh, really weird person. No, just another colour would be great.
I did that.
Yeah, I did. I know. So maybe we do it on our own.
Yeah, you do it on your own. What it becomes when you do it on your own is it's an
I don't want any more ice cream! Sorry,
It's an act of lunacy, isn't it? Is what it becomes.
Most of us, most people want to sort of absorb themselves into the environment and the culture.
Yeah,
rather than stand out and say, hey, I can do a really good representation and impersonation.
Well, I think as an actor, you think you want to do that at the beginning, and then the reality of doing that is quite unsettling, and so then you get an emotional dysfunction if you didn't have one. Do you think it requires the same level of commitment to make a tragic story as a comedic story?
I think it's the idea that at moments of great tragedy, you could almost laugh, couldn't you? There's a connection somewhere at the perimeter of it all.
So this is a good one. Are there any rituals you perform before going on stage?
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah, which is really good. You taught me that.
It's just the sort of going into battle. I think it really is going into battle, and you have to win the battle.
Is there anyone dead or alive that you think I'd portray well?
Well, portraying people who are dead or alive is a weird thing, because there's an added responsibility. I mean, I played Huey Green, who was a 1970s television entertainer. And he, by all accounts in the story, was quite a monstrous individual, and you're playing it, and people go, oh, you're doing it really well or whatever, and you feel you're achieving something, but inside you there's this big thought that I hope this is right.
This is a good question because I'd like to know the answer to it. At a young age, could you see that I'd follow you into acting more so than either of my brothers?
Yes, I think so, because you always created your own world around you, and from the age of 2, 3, whatever, when you went out, you always went out in a different character. You would create, either it was woman with a brolly and lots of things that you
I'd take all my props.
You took everything with you, and you would play out this person for the day. Yeah, it was fascinating to watch. You always seemed to know what you wanted, which is what I've always admired in you. I don't ever remember you going, I don't know. You are absolutely clear cut. You know, I'm Mr. Indecision. I go, well, maybe I'm not sure. But you were always absolutely clear.
You're quite decisive. I think of you as quite decisive.
Do you?
Well, maybe that's the role you've played in my life. If I say, Dad, what do you think I should do? You say, well, you should do that.
You have
so
to sort of make decisions, don't you, in front of your children.
Yeah, you have to sound like you know what you want to do.
So I suppose that's where the acting comes from, really.
Pretending.
Well, I had to pretend. I hated school so passionately. You had to sort of pretend there that you weren't crumbling.
I loved school, but I did learn one thing there. My science teacher, I didn't like science, and she said, are you listening, Alice? And I said, no. And she said, well, if you're not going to listen, at least just make a face and look in my direction and look like you're listening. And at the time, it was quite a corrupt thing to know. I was only 9. But really, that's life a lot of the time, isn't it?
Adopt the pose.
Adopt the pose.
This is Hunger Magazine's female issue.
Have you noticed how many strong, successful women there are at the moment? Can you name some examples, please?
I've never thought the need for strong and women to be in the same... I mean, it's like...
Right, like it's inherent.
Yeah, I don't quite... you don't say, are there any strong men around at the moment?
I think what's happened, though, in society is we used to disguise our strength with all sorts of airs and graces and politeness and...
My mother never did.
Didn't she?
She was just tough, She came from a daughter of a Welsh miner, and she was tough, yeah. And my wife is tough. You're tough. You're strong. I mean, women have ruled my life for all of it. I mean, when you're in the workplace, it's most of the decisions, most of the people I work with are women.
Should we stop now?
I don't know.